Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you wish to sponsor us, go to hell. No, seriously, project your essence into the realm of the dead and carve your sponsorship offer on Sisyphus' boulder. When it reaches the top, we will hear you. We always do.
In this episode, we continue our discussion of the Great Wheel cosmology, moving to the outer planes. We explore the depths of the hells and the lower planes, as well as the pearly heights of the upper planes.
Now, last time we were on the pod, in your ears,
The pod.
we discussed.
Last time we occupied your brain. Last time we found refuge in your ear canals. In your ear canals. I'm fucked today. Oh my god.
Last time we invaded your personal space, we discussed what is boy and what is girl dinner, or what is child dinner as a gender neutral term. Today, I think we need to answer the question: what is man dinner, or
What
woman
is man
dinner, or adult dinner?
I mean, I'll tell you what man dinner was tonight. It was fucking lamb and boiled cabbage.
Nah. I feel like man dinner has to be like either like has to be a staple, right? Like my man dinner is like a steak. Like I've gone, I bought a steak, I've collected it. It's something like impressive, but like not complicated. That's sort of in my mind. That's what man dinner is in my brain.
I feel like there's a lot of men that would call themselves impressive but not complicated.
Exactly, right?
Wrong. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, chicken breast and rice seems like a gym dinner to me. That's man dinner for me.
Yeah.
I could nearly describe that as boy dinner, though. That's also good.
I was going to say,
true.
it kind of, you have to be careful because you could fall very nearly into calling man dinner just what a gym head would eat, but I feel like that's too close to boy dinner. You know what I mean?
Asterisk. Man dinner is boy dinner plus a beer, plus an ice cold stubby.
You're damn right. My mince meat with rice that I bring, it has a VB with it, and that's me good to go.
And speaking of men...
Whoa, speaking of men.
What about woman
yeah.
dinner? What's a woman? I think woman dinner is the same. It's just with a beer. It's the exact same thing.
I imagine woman dinner is much more put together, but that's just my sexism, you know?
Women dinner are the only ones that are actually good out of the four spectrum, out of the four corners.
The four corners.
Yeah, you've got
The
age
four
on one,
genders.
You've got age on one axis, and then you've got man to woman on the other side. And then on that gender binary spectrum, I would truly like to know what lies in the middle of those gaps.
Non-binary dinner.
What is NB dinner?
NB dinner is sushi.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, kind of real.
That's good. That just came. I just thought, what is NB dinner? And that came to me, and I don't know why, but I feel it's a vibe.
What does your sibling have? What's their favorite food?
Do they like sushi?
I haven't had dinner with them in so long. I'll be honest.
Holy shit.
Like other than what
I'm trying to get us off this topic. You just had a moment.
other than going home for family dinners. Last time we went out, we got Japanese though. That's close to that's sushi.
That's sushi, baby.
That's sushi,
NB
baby.
dinner is sushi confirmed.
I did think back to it. Last time we went out was Japanese. It wasn't that long ago. I just have a bad memory. I just found.
Oh, well, we knew that.
Speaking of multiple axes upon which things lie, today we're going to be coming back to the Forgotten Realms Great Wheel cosmology. Don't fucking laugh at me. I'm trying to pivot, okay?
Wow, that's crazy.
Is it because my headset is
You mean
currently
we're
making it
back?
look like I have a little domed head? Is that what you're chuckling at?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I'm chuckling at your quiff of hair.
My quiff is looking hot today, but you got to pay for...
good.
No, you don't have to pay for the Patreon anymore. We're publishing the video.
We have to stop doing visual jokes and immediate.
Hey, we can start doing them again because we're going to start publishing the videos
Because
publicly.
everyone is going to watch us on YouTube now. We're going
You
to
can
become
get
a
the
YouTube
videos
hit.
a week early on Patreon, and then everyone else a week later will get the joke when we publish them on YouTube.
Yep.
But speaking of the multiple axes, we have of course, in the previous episode, which you should go back to if you haven't listened to that, unless you're already deeply invested into the Outer Planes episodes, in which case, keep listening. If you cast your mind back, we covered the inner planes in the previous episode, being the prime material plane, or the normal world. To go back, we're talking about the Forgotten Realms Great Wheel cosmology in the terms of Dungeons & Dragons 5e, which is the game system that a lot of people play for tabletop RPGs. Get with it.
Sorry, sir, could you go back further? What's an RPG?
To where?
What's a table?
4 legs. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
What is a table?
Define a table, guy.
Define a table. It is a flat surface upon which things rest, and it usually is elevated to a small degree and balanced by small feet, although that's not a consistent feature. It's a thing you put stuff on.
Therefore, the ground is a table.
That's entirely correct.
Got it. Okay, cool. Now that we've settled that.
This is why entomologists hate themselves. Today we go back to the inner planes, talking about we've gone past the inner planes. We moved to the outer planes. Fuck me, this is such a bad thing. I can't deal with you guys online. From the inner planes, which are the prime material plane or the normal world at the very center, with the echo planes of the Feywild, the Shadowfell around the outside, the transitive planes of the ethereal and the astral planes, filling the spaces between and beyond the realms, and the elemental planes, each brimming with the raw material of creation, we head into the outer planes, where the worlds become more philosophical, more idea-based.
Do we get more ooze?
We get there's probably ooze in some of the planes. I won't lie, there's probably ooze in a bunch of the planes. If you find humans, there's ooze in there somewhere. It's true.
He's got a point.
There's ooze on every plane, as long as there's a human there, and I can almost guarantee you there's a human on every plane.
Wherever the human goes, ooze follows.
Here, on the outer planes, we are leave behind the ideas of elemental attunement or life and death and instead move to the axes of alignment, a much loathed topic in tabletop RPG gaming. So, to cover for people who don't know, in Dungeons & Dragons, characters are often aligned based on 2 factors. It's sort of like a moral compass guiding point. You'll have good, neutral, and evil on an axis, and chaos, neutral, and order on another axis. So you might be a lawful good character who might be, a cop, except not. A paladin, perhaps, dictated by their oaths, dedicated to upholding moral good at all costs according to their good laws. Or you might be a chaotic evil psycho killer who just murders people for the fun of it.
Honestly, I can. A lot of people that I know who don't know D&D have sent me memes of the alignment meme. I feel like it's
alignment
known
chart's
outside.
kind of transcended. It's transcended D&D.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I mean,
which is good.
Yeah.
It's one of those annoying things. Yeah.
I think our society would be better if we based everyone off of alignment, and if when you met people, like. Don't take this clip out of context. Don't take this clip out of context.
Fuck's sake, we're putting people in.
Instead of like putting
in boxes.
instead on your email signature, instead of having like your pronouns, you could have your alignment. I think that could just like really.
Dude, and then we'll start sectioning people off by their alignment.
Yeah.
What is this, Hogwarts?
We'll
this isn't fucking Hogwarts. We're not putting all the smart people in one house, all the brave people in one house, all the fucking evil cunts in one house, and just everyone else in Hufflepuff. Okay. They say it's nice, but literally written in the book, it's like, and Helga Huff said, "I'll take everyone else."
She did.
So there's
Yeah.
So the outer planes are divided into 16, dictated by grouping based on moral alignment by the terms. So we're putting people in buckets based on their alignments.
No segregation. No.
Exactly.
Can I say something that's very strange? But have you guys heard of like the personality types? That like
I have, yes, of course.
What's the test that they do for them?
I don't know what it's called, but it's the 16 personality types.
Yeah,
it's like INFTP. I think have a bad rating, or something like that.
I know, like some people really appreciate that. Like this is gonna sound really strange, but when I was in Japan on like dating sites, every person's profile had their personality type.
Personality type.
Like nearly everyone. It's a very common thing on a dating site which is very interesting.
Hey Matt, while you're in Japan, why are you on a dating site?
He was in Japan for a couple of weeks, man. Man's got a hunt.
That's a
The
question.
dog
That's a
has
question.
got to hunt.
That's a question
Let
I'm not
the
answering
dogs
on a
out.
recorded. Holy shit!
Oh no, sorry, I just remembered the original meaning of that song. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about Matt being a horny dog out on the street.
Holy shit! This is
Original, no, because the
we're
original meaning of the song's about. Like,
we're
I don't
officially
worry
in weird bad. That's where I'm right now. Weird bad.
for the sake of discussion, my general way of defining good versus evil, chaotic versus neutral, chaotic versus order. Good is serving others. Evil is serving yourself or a specific, person who's not giving their benefits to other people, i.e., a Dark Lord or a necromancer or something evil that's, pulling up all into the same person. So service of all versus services of one.
Selfish and selfless.
Correct.
Simplify, I guess.
And then order would just be a set of guidelines or rules. So you can have an ordered good person, might be, someone who follows the law, versus someone who's lawful evil, just follows the rules of their master, versus chaotic is just opportunistic and random. Quite often in RPGs, it will be played as extremely random, but that's kind of how it goes.
Can I just
I think
ask
it should.
before we get into this? I'm sorry to interrupt
Yes.
so many times.
What do you mean before we get into this? We're fucking 11 minutes into the recording. We haven't even touched it yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Just go. Just tell me.
With these alignments, it always brings me the wrong way, good and evil. And so I get the game, I get you have to have like a sides and stuff like that. But it's like, by the definition we just defined, a lawful good person would stab someone in the face to save two people.
Yes, correct.
yeah.
Even though that person was innocent. They didn't do anything.
Correct.
I could see a lawful good person doing that in-game.
I can see a lawful good person just so you just walk up to someone and stab them. It doesn't make sense for me for a lawful good person just to kill. Like, okay, if I had to put it extreme, would kill 3 children to save 4 children.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like that by definition, that's the better evil. But it just
that depends on your moral system, because what you're working off there is utilitarianism. In which
That's
case,
true.
Yeah, you're technically correct, but it does depend on what moral philosophy you're running.
Yeah,
by.
that's true.
Because it's quite a jump to say this person is lawful because they follow their set of morals, and they're good because they're selfless more than they are selfish. Therefore, they would kill 3 babies to save 4. That's quite a big jump, I would say.
I'm just bringing things to the extremes because I think they're fun there. You know what I
To
mean?
bring things back, the reason I mention these particular alignments is because the Great Wheel that I speak of so often in these episodes, and in fact that the episode is titled for, it forms itself around a sort of compass point system, with the axes, instead of being north, south, east, west, being good, evil, lawful, and chaos. So you end up with planes that are part and part. You end up with planes that are, pure chaos, pure order, pure good, pure evil, and each of those fall on the wheel. You'll notice, boys, that I've just sent you an image of the Great Wheel, because if desired, we may take a trip, if you'd like, to jump around. We have 16 to get through, so get a fucking move on. And I will note there will be a question at the end of which one you want to end up on, and I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to be any of the evil planes.
What do you mean?
It's so sad, man. I get into these, and it's like, good planes, like, there's something redeemable about most of them, and then you get to the evil planes, and it's like, none of these are A, a place I would want to live, B, a place I could survive.
Surely, even one of them's like a really lazy utopia.
I'm also happy if you guys would prefer to just rotate around the compass points.
Start with Arborea.
Arborea.
And then if we rotate around, we'll go good, neutral, evil, and then back into goods. Is that?
We begin with
More like
chaotic good.
Arborea. Sorry.
It's not Arborea. In fact, it is a vibrant plane of passion, beauty, and emotion, which is home to the Olympian gods. Arborea is a party. Chaotic good being, of course, have a good time, basically. Arborea is a party plane with many wild elven deities finding their home there. Passions run very high, and while everyone's having a good time, tempers may occasionally flare, and rage is very common. However, even after beating each other to a pulp, the inhabitants will shake hands and call it a good fight. Very similar to the Feywild. The landscape is grand and exaggerated with lots of massive mountains and little, nature spirits and that sort of stuff. Again, very similar, but also, like the Feywild again, having the dark and twisted foresty parts. There's an optional rule for this plane, which I think is quite funny, which causes anyone who leaves to desperately yearn to return. So this is very much an addicting, passionate, extreme sort of plane. I think it probably makes you feel like you're on drugs, because all of the emotions are very heightened. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's kind of like the lotus flower from Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm. As I go through a lot of these planes as well, they're not going to be particularly long descriptions. We're trying to get through this as a second half episode. But I'm going to also mention on a couple of them, there are still layers. If you remember from last episode, layers are simply separate parts of a plane, which are distinct realms to a degree. They're usually only accessed through a portal, similar to other planes, but generally keep the same sort of vibe. There is also realms, which I'll mention. Realms are areas inside layers or planes, just being, sort of dictated little things. Sometimes they're locked off because of, it's a god's realm and therefore it's their home and they've protected it. Or sometimes it's just the name of an area. So
can I just ask? I'm looking at the wheel we have here.
Yes. So Arborea, to clarify, is on the upper axis. So if the upper axis is north, is good, and the eastern axis is chaos and the western axis is order. It's, northeast would be chaotic good.
Yeah, so it's right in that chaotic good area, but it's
right on the chaotic good.
Equal between them. That's kind of the
Correct.
vibe. Okay.
There is also things similar to like nor-northwest, which are more precise compass points or, directions, cardinal directions. We have a similar thing here where I will sometimes mention a chaotic neutral/good realm, which, the next one we're getting to starts to tip around towards neutral, but is still influenced on the good side.
Sure.
All good?
Interesting.
Excellent. Arborea, the layers. First, we have Avandor, or Olympus, the layer where the Greek pantheon can be found, as well as vast forest, glades, and other bountiful nature areas. It's known to be known as the breadbasket of other planes, and you'll often find interplanar places such as Sigil, interplanar City of Doors, or the one I mentioned last time in the Astral Sea. Oh no, the Ethereal Plane.
The like
Big City on the Crystal. My bad, I forgot. I have ADHD, can't remember names. I'm not a bad researcher, don't you fucking... Yeah, similar, something like that. But from those areas, this is known as the breadbasket because the sort of exaggerated, wild, good energy creates some pretty fucking sick fruit.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah, I don't know, it's great. From Avandor or Olympus, we then move to Aquilor, is a great emerald ocean, which is debated whether or not it has any land at all. It does have large chasms that are large areas that are very, very shallow, only about a meter deep. It's not a very deep ocean. It's a massive ocean, but it's not very, actually deep. But in through crevices in the underwater area there, you'll find good aligned sea gods making their own little realms in those areas. Beyond that, we then also have the final layer of Mytharandir, which is a slightly interesting one, being home to the titans and giants of old. But that was quite a long time ago. Since then, all of the inhabitants have left, and the layer is now known as the Realm of Dust. Nice. Towers peek from beneath the sand, but it is an incredibly quiet and empty place, abandoned for thousands, if not millions of years. There are some tales of some incredible divination, magic, and trinkets hidden beneath the sand, left by previous inhabitants, but there's no one there to tell you if that's true or not. In amongst these realms, there are oddities. There's good aligned planes that happen to have creatures on them that are imprisoned there because that is, keep your enemies close to home. It's a good aligned plane, but we've got a prison for the evil beasts in this layer. Yeah. So this is a similar one where it's less of an oddity of the fact that it's been influenced by anything, but it has just been abandoned. The giants moved on to other planes. They moved into the plane of fire. They moved into a couple of other places that I'll mention. But otherwise, they've just abandoned this particular layer. It's dissolved to dust.
Interesting.
All happy there?
Yeah. Arborea. Sounds like a great place.
It sounds pretty cool.
Well, the way this is structured, just in my brain... is it just like a planet, or is it like, I mean, the symbol is a mountain. Is it one big mountain, or is that just the Olympus mountain? Everything else.
Arborea is the actual is the mountain itself, but that is Olympus. That's the pantheon of the gods. Like technically, if you look at, there's these weird drawings that accompany a bunch of the planes where it's got them like as like chunks of land that are just like floating over each other.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think it depends on your DM's interpretation. It depends on who's running it at the time. Sometimes the layers can be accessed by climbing them, and there are some that are very specific about that. We get back to Mount Celestia when we get around to the other side, the plane of straight lawful good. It's literally just a big mountain. The layers are parts of the mountain. Here, Arborea, I'm not 100% certain, to be totally honest. It's displayed as like... Aqualor on the bottom as like a big ocean, and then Olympus at the top as a big chunk of land, and then Mythandia is it's super weird. Again, some of them play into the layers and how they sit together. Some of them don't.
Yeah, when you get to these sort of mind kind of planes, they might not work as well as like a as might not be able to be mapped by the mortal mind. It might work like, oh, you go there, so you go, okay, I'll walk in this direction, and if I think about going there, you go there, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of them have very interesting sort of physical properties. Partially because a lot of them, I don't know if this is entirely true, but I do know that a lot of this sort of stuff is based on Planescape. Planescape being a different setting for D&D, where essentially it is just realms of emotion and mind, and it's all made up in your head, and it's all this like theoretical weird stuff. So I think this is sort of halfway between there. It's not the prime material plane. There's a reason the word material is in the prime material plane. A lot of this stuff kind of drifts into the realm of it's what your mind makes of it.
Yeah. So I'm just quickly. I can shut my mouth if you want, but
go
also
for it. No, go for
the sake of like
if only we could make them.
Yeah. I'll chime in with like the 2-second version. In my homebrew setting that these two fuckers have had to play through, I very much went for it being, rather than like one mountain to climb up or anything like that, having it very like physical. There is an ocean, then there's a desert, and then there's above. And I think the one time that someone in the group, one of you players, went there as like a spiritual version, I'd said that you like spiritually floated through a bunch of water and then dust, and then Anyway.
I think there was a particular session in which I remember both the bards got summoned to heaven, and I think the rest of the players were all slightly confused.
Yeah.
Was that Arborea?
Arborea was Branchella, god of
the okay. It was Branchella's realm. Okay.
Yes. We move around now towards the more neutral side, towards Ysgard, the chaotic neutral / good realm, a plane of heroic deeds and eternal battle, where there's a little interesting thing that some people who have read not Percy Jackson, is there a variation of that where it's
Magnus
in
Chase.
Ysgard? That's the one, baby. Magnus Chase fans know where I'm going with this. Taken from traditional Norse mythology, this is the home, funnily enough, of the Norse pantheon, if you don't know Ysgard. Floating islands house great drinking halls, as those who die in battle or with great heroic deeds to their name find rest here. Kind of. Each day they drink and party and fight, with all those who are killed during the fighting resurrected the next day. It is a place that celebrates honor, tradition, and a fucking good fight. Barbarians, fighters, lots of people, sort of Viking vibes. Of course, it's the fucking Norse pantheon. What am I on about?
Yeah, interesting. I haven't read much of the Magnus Chase. I read the first one, and I think the second one, or maybe a bit of the second one. But that Ysgard is definitely in the first book. It's very much.
Yeah. Because I remember reading it myself, the first one, and he gets resurrected, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on? Why are you guys fighting?"
Yeah, it's kind of great.
It's a good one. The main layers here are the islands of Ysgard, which are just called Ysgard, as well as the flipped island of Muspelheim, where the fire giants make their home. So this is one of the planes that the giants migrated to. Beneath them are the tunnels of Nidavellir, where solitary gnomes and dwarves will practice their craft. They're still involved. It's just Cave Ysgard. I don't know if the regeneration or reviving properties exist in these caves, but they're not terrible creatures. They're gnomes and dwarves.
It's terrible creatures.
Just find tunnels. I keep finding at the end of like the wiki articles you just get through, or like the summaries, and it's just like also there's dwarves, and it's like whoa. I thought humans were really good at getting around, but like the dwarves just appear anywhere. Anywhere there's a fucking tunnel or a rock, the dwarves are there.
They just come out of them.
Yeah, literally.
They come out of the rock.
But I think it's also because when they're trying to connect Norse mythology has dwarves and elves, and
that's also very true. Another feature of this plane is that while it is a, chaotic, neutral, good plane, generally good speaking, chaos is also reigning here, and so as such there are a variety of magical beasts that litter the realm, generally just to challenge the warriors and give them something to do during the day. If they're bored of fighting their bros, they can go off and fight a dragon. If they fuck up, they come back the next day, give it another go. It's literally a video game.
Literally.
Is it only the dead who have gone here that resurrect every day, or is it anyone who's on this plane resurrects every day?
That is a good question that I do not know the answer to. I suspect that it's...
I feel like it's a setting dependent thing.
I think it's setting dependent. I think according to the book, it's the people who died and like resurrected and find the afterlife here.
That's definitely in Norse mythology.
That's my understanding of it.
You can't usually go there without being dead.
Yeah.
Which DM's very fun concept. Send your players to Yisgard and all the guys will be like, hey, you resurrect here. And then you realize that the party is in massive fucking danger.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
As they're surrounded by level 20 fighters and barbarians.
They're all like, oh, we're going to kill you and you'll come back. And you're like, no.
I didn't die yet. No. Does dying in Yisgard? No, I'm not going to bother with that.
Yeah, can I ask, is every one of these planes a place you go when you die?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are places where people go when they're dedicated to a certain craft. Some of them are places that certain races are supposed to go, which I think that's very much a thing from older versions and is kind of left over in the original version of 5e, and they're very much trying to get rid of with 2024 D&D, which depends on who you talk to, whether that's a good thing or not. But there are, for example, some I know we'll get around later to the neutral evil plane of Genna is often where the orcs will end up. There's various things there, but then also Mount Celestia, you find clerics and paladins there, and it's like, okay, it kind of depends. Again, setting dependent, DM dependent, vibe dependent.
Yeah,
where do you want to end up?
Vibe dependent. Yeah.
A notable connection to the material plane here is the well-known Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, closely guarded by Heimdall, the unsleeping warrior and owner of the Gjallarhorn. Gjallarhorn? How the fuck do you pronounce that? Gjallarhorn?
Gjallarhorn sounds right.
That sounds right. The alarm system of the gods, which you can set off to alert people.
Jacob from Norway can let us know.
Jacob from Norway can let us fucking know.
True.
So yes, Yisgard.
Fuck yeah.
We move around once more to the realm of Limbo, the plane of straight, chaotic, neutral energy. So
the plane
just
of
chaos.
the straight.
Yeah, so we get now into the concept of like straight, not straight. Okay, I see what you were saying. Shut the fuck up, first of all. All of these planes are queer. It's fine. Because they're chaotic, all right? Nonetheless, Limbo is the first example we're going to have of just a single bias plane. So this is just a realm of chaos. It doesn't have any good or evil influence. It's just chaos. So chaotic neutral. Limbo.
So the friend that says they're straight, but then when they get drunk, they start like getting real flirty with their bros. That's
they're neutral. They're asexual, okay?
No, this is the friend...
Until they get a few bevs in them.
This is the friend that'll either arrive an hour early because they messed up the time, or an hour late, or just never at all. They are never arriving on time.
And there's never any like vibes to it. Like you can't tell if they're doing it deliberately or not. Like it seems malicious at some point. You're like, I need to be on time when they show up late, and then you're like, this doesn't matter. It's just a little catch up, and they're like half an hour early, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Are you good?
Why are you in my house? I'm not ready.
But they're like, then they'll say like, you complained because I was always late.
Limbo is a plane of ever-shifting chaos and matter shaped by the minds within it. Limbo is probably like the second least survivable plane. It's not the least survivable because there's nothing technically actively trying to kill you. It's just not a good time.
It might be one of the least survivable planes. I'll beat it. Nah, I'll win.
Give it a go. Limbo is in a constant shift with no gravity, and all solid matter quickly changing as soon as you can register it. Fields will become ocean, will become boiling lava before disappearing and becoming void, dark, and empty. The only upside to this plane is that it is influenceable with strong minds, being able to form chaos into solid dwellings, although it can be at great cost to their sanity. For example, if you go back to our Baldur's Gate episode, you will remember that there is a splinter group of the Githyanki, the Githzerai, who actually find their home here, shaping monasteries from the chaos.
Interesting.
There you go.
The other inhabitants of this plane are the Slard, who are frog-like creatures that live in the chaotic soup. In the center of Limbo is the spawning stone, where the Slards come to breed. It is a mile-wide stone slab at the center of the plane, carved with ever-shifting glyphs, meaning only anything to the frogs. I don't fucking know, man. Sometimes D&D's just got frogs in the soup.
And sometimes the frogs just like to fuck at one particular stone.
They love it. It's a solid stone. It's been there forever.
Honestly,
and
that's
also,
a vibe. I like the Chaos Frogs is a vibe.
Chaos Frog's a vibe. You know what else is a vibe? The breeding stone having a iron throne at its center, which always will be a powerful Slard sitting there defending, often an elder Slard who's able to concentrate their mind on holding the sporting stone in place, being able to...
I was going to say, it's interesting
to
that
give the frogs a way to fuck.
Interesting
It's
that a realm
really kind.
of pure chaos to have something that doesn't change,
Yeah.
but that makes sense if someone has to hold it.
He's focusing.
There's two things. Again, this is one of those things where there's like a paper map and it's like, this is the vibe that some wizard has given to his students to show what it is. It's literally a floating temple for the Githzerai and then a single dot in the middle of a massive like spiral that just has spawning stone. And it's like, okay, so the two fucking landmarks on this plane are temple of a splinter religious group who are probably going to kill you on sight, or frog fuckstone.
I'm taking the frog.
But also,
fuckstone.
I love that the frog fuckstone.
The frog fuckstone.
It comes with a cuck chair.
It does come with a cuck chair, but it also could be a dom chair. He's in charge.
I just,
but he's
I love it.
He's still
He's just
watching.
He's still watching. He is being, at the end of the day. Just as I mentioned, the essentially the Slard have just like evolved brains that are able to control the chaos around them. They are also spellcasters, so there's intelligence there, but also it's like a weird fucking alien intelligence. They're weird. They're great creatures. I was reading up on them. They're frogs. I don't know why they're fucking frogs.
I mean, that is the ultimate form. It's the most chaotic form, is the frog.
It is the most chaotic form is a frog. I've never seen more chaos caused than by a frog.
I think frogs is one of the animals. If you sit it there and you see it, it's like very unpredictable what it's going to do next.
Frogs is certainly one of the animals of all time.
It's definitely one of the animals of all time. The Limbo gives me the vibe of pure chaos. Gives me the vibe of like a thing where it's like, if you're not concentrating, you could just walk through this place and like stairs would appear and you just vibe it out. But the moment you think, wait, what am I doing? And then they just empty, just fall through it.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the mind, that's entirely a possibility.
Yeah.
However, we will leave Limbo behind and
Yes.
around closer towards our evil depths.
Limbo's a great
Heading
game.
into chaotic neutral, evil, being Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemonium is not third least survivable, possibly.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
The great sharp stones of Pandemonium are constantly hounded by screaming wind, banishing all fire and light, making talking possible only by yelling. The few who venture here willingly and those who find themselves here not by choice, are often driven mad by the screaming winds. In-game turns, the wind will make you gain a level of exhaustion for every hour on a failed save, but it will not kill you. Instead, if you reach 6 levels of exhaustion, you gain a permanent madness and are compelled to sprint into the darkness.
Yeah.
So you're not dead, just you're never coming back.
Just lost in Pandemonium.
Yeah.
The only cool thing about this realm is that because of the chaos, sometimes gravity gets real fucky, and there's an example of the river Styx, which is a river that flows through some of the lower planes. I mentioned in the last episode, Styx flows through the Underones, and I don't remember the name of the good river. It's in the script somewhere. But it flows through the lower planes here, and the river Styx will occasionally floating through the carved and hewn tunnels through the mountains, the smooth tunnels carved by the wind, will sometimes be a floating river that just runs through the middle of it because there's no gravity in some spots. There are layers. They all suck. I'm not going to go through them. It's just various versions of dark and screaming wind, and no one's happy, and there's creatures. But the one thing that I do think is interesting, and again, another note to DMs, this is basically a DM inspiration episode. There are layers, but the deepest layer is said to be solid stone with only small pockets of open vacuum or air. Quote, pockets without a connection to the next layer were often the final resting place of things that should not be awakened.
That's good.
There's crazy shit down there. Like, this is the hell of all hell. This is where the demons banish their hellspawn.
Well, to me, that makes a lot of sense, because Pandemonium in Paradise Lost is the capital of hell.
It's the capital?
Yeah. It's the capital city of hell.
Capital real estate, don't you know? Yeah, that was fine. My grandfather picked this up back in his day.
It's supposed to be like where Satan lives, I believe.
Was your grandpa able to figure out how to deal with the wind? It seems kind of like an issue. I'm a new guy around here, but I don't know about the wind.
Well, you just let it drive you crazy, my boy, and then you're all set, aren't you now?
Wait, why are we sprinting?
We're running straight towards the cliff now. It's like I say, prime real estate.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that makes sense. Like, I know these clearly take inspiration from a lot of other media, but so that makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of these are taken from other. Again, as mentioned in the last episode, I'll mention here again in case anyone's listening without listening to the first one, which you shouldn't do. You should go back and listen to the first one as well, but only after you finish this episode. The planes and the Forgotten Realms are supposed to be realms of myth. Lost from our world, which once had a connection, but since then has drifted apart, but often inspired all the myths. So all of our myths are here. Hence why we can have the Egyptian pantheon, the Greek pantheon, the Norse pantheon, the Roman pantheon, all in a big soup. Yeah. They're all over the place. It's great times. We move on now to some of the more interesting layers of evil, beginning with the plane of pure chaotic evil, the Abyss. This plane has infinite layers of chaos and evil, all ruled by demonic lords. The infinite layers of the Abyss are home to many fucked up evil demons. This is a demon heaven, because it's literally the opposite of lawful good. It's chaotic evil. It's not actually evil hell, because that's a little bit further round, but it's the equivalent. It's the purest form of evil. It's not the place that the demons want to live, because a lot of them have brains. But if you're a gibbering little evil spirit, this is probably where you're going to end up.
If you're a gibbering little guy, you'll love it there.
If you like gibbering, we've got a prime real estate for you.
And the demons did gibber.
And the demons did gibber. The layers of the plane spiral infinitely downwards with no end yet discovered, although there are at least 679 layers documented. I saw somewhere else that it was 666, and I got excited, and then it said somewhere else that it was 679, and I got sad, because that's a stupid fucking number.
How about we agree disagree and put it at 669?
It's 666 layers discovered, absolutely. I agree. This is our DM campaign now.
I said 669.
Yeah. Oh,
nice.
Not based. Sad face. Dislike. Angry react, in fact. Characters traveling here will find themselves becoming selfish, gaining bloodlust, insane ego, or feeling the need to rule, kill, and destroy. The plane very quickly will shift your mental. A thing to mention about a lot of these aligned planes is they actually have influences on people who are not of their alignment. If you're in an evil plane and are a good aligned character, you gain exhaustion, and vice versa. It's real exhausting to not be somewhere where you feel like you can be yourself, and I think that's a message we can all take to heart. You know?
Yeah.
I think I'd love
Are you gaining exhaustion because you're not being evil enough? Go jack a car right now.
Okay, do not jack a car.
Whoa.
We do not approve of you jacking a car.
This is not humor. This is not a joke. Go jack a car.
Go jack a car right now.
Go jack off your friend consensually. Instead.
That's chaos, baby. We love that shit.
Put me in the abyss. Put me in.
Put me in the abyss.
One of our listeners gets confused and just starts like jacking off the exhaust pipe of the
car. God damn.
I'm so done.
I suspect that there is a specific order to the layers of the planes of the abyss, but there's not a sort of specific one, so we're just going to go over a couple of the interesting ones. The gaping, we're just going to go, these are the interesting ones mentioned in the Dungeon Master's Guide. The Gaping Maw. This is the Demogorgon's domain, and this area is a primeval continent covered in thick jungle.
That's what they call me.
Demons. You good? You shaved recently?
They call me the Gaping Maw.
That's what they call them in those Japanese dating apps.
Oh no!
Oh, you know what they say. Yeah.
What do they say, Matthew?
What do they say?
I got my own abyss, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's Thanatos, which is the lair of the undead, covered with sharp peaks dotted in ruins, graveyards, tombs, and necromantic ritual sites. It's got a lot of death in it. It's ruled by Orcus, who is the ruler of the undead, and also a primordial demon. He's cool as fuck. Also, cool as fuck character on Happy. No one's going to get that reference, but that's for me, baby.
Orcus
Down
is a good
below...
name.
Orcus is a sick name. Orcus is a great name for a demon, but also he's so fucking incredibly dangerous. He's so scary. The demon web.
Lore-wise, yes.
Lore-wise, yes. Moving down.
He has a very depressingly underwhelming stat block as far as like god level monsters go. His stat block is really
Shoot knows the
underwhelming.
stat blocks, and Orcus is sad.
Yep.
Who is the Demogorgon? Where's the Demogorgon? Did we go past
The Demogorgon was in the Gaping Maw. He's in the jungle.
Yeah. I always find the Demogorgon, it's a very common thing in a lot of different medias. And like the D&D one is very strange. Go like if you have a chance listening, I know you're listening, look up the Demogorgon of D&D.
The Demogorgon is like it's called the imprisoned one. He's a evil being. He's
Like,
an evil creature.
they have
He's
the
got monster arms.
They have the Demogorgon in Stranger Things, and it looks nothing like this Demogorgon.
Well, because they're naming creatures from another plane of existence.
I know,
things
but
that they
like-
know from the game.
But this thing's like a baboon. You know, it's two baboons.
It's also 18 foot tall.
but it's a baboon guy.
Oh my god! Hold
Baboon.
on. What does
Baboon.
it say? His body at once sinuous like that of a snake and powerful like that of a great ape. Two baleful baboon heads with blue and red faces similar to those of mandrills leering from atop his lumbering shoulders, from which two tentacles writhed. His lower torso was saurian, like a great reptile with blue-green scaly skins. He also had an immense forked tail. This is a fucked up creature. This is the worst version of the fucking, what's the hippogriff?
Yeah.
It's the worst
or
version.
the Manticore.
That's the one.
Yeah.
This is the worst. Like, I think this is the kind of thing I think would be my sleep paralysis demon. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's the kind of thing that I have always wanted to fight in D&D and never want to fight in D&D. You know what I mean?
I want to fight that as a known BBEG. I don't want to fight it in a surprising counter, you know? Don't fucking get ideas. Jude's fucking scratching his chin looking at the screen as if he's getting thoughts. Don't you?
No, it's actually great because you've already throughout this and the last episode you've already touched on or talked about things that I've got planned for this kind of campaign we're doing, and it's just great seeing your guys' reaction to different things. Go, okay.
Hell on earth, hell on earth. Oren will live. Oren will fucking live. I'm gonna play a barbarian marshal to level 20. Watch me.
If this thing, if the Demogorgon showed up on Earth, I think I'm giving up. That's one of the apocalypses I'm not going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving down, we get to the demon web, where Lawful, the spider god of the Drow's domain is made. Thick, twisting spider webs with buildings, ship, and castles, other places ripped from the material realm, stuck in the Spider Queen's web. Down the very base of this layer, we find the Spider Queen herself, surrounded by her spinster maidens. A lot of these kind of boil down to it's the lair of this evil demon. It's the apartment building of hell.
It's
It's
that's
just floors and floors and floors of people who have absolutely lost their security deposit. They are not getting that shit
I
back.
don't think someone's moved
The
in.
modifications are untenable.
You finally got a place. The real estate in the material plane is terrible. This is why there's no free real estate fucking here. You gotta pay rent, and it's shit. Like every tenant's annoying. Oh, it's the worst.
We move down to the Endless Maze, which is Baphomet? Baphomet's domain.
Baphomet.
It's a never-ending maze. We go next to the Triple Realm, a realm spanning 3 layers, which is a maze of a city, which is a delight for those seeking perverse forbidden pleasures or forbidden substances. It's like all downtown of all cities mashed into one big city that's all downtown. Which
So it's just one big red light district?
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
But also, as similar to a red light district, there's also a number of dead ends, alleyways, and other little sneaky threats around that are ready to absolutely shank you and take you for all you're worth. Probably put you into slavery, to be honest. Worse than most cities, I'd say.
I don't know.
Is London giving you different experiences?
London's not the one I was thinking of. But
I've heard of worse real estate agreements. You know what I mean?
True, real. Hey, it's got 3 layers at least.
You describe all that, then you tell me the rent's like $200 a week, and I'm like, I'm in.
Oh, yeah, true.
Sounds good. Buy a new house for $300K.
We then move to Yenaghu. Oh, well, Death Dells is the layer. Final one. With the Yenaghu, who prowls this layer. All creatures and plants on this layer crave blood.
Oh,
it's just the most pure, like, serial murder killer vibe.
Fantastic.
Hey, they're
anyway.
they're on a diet, Fab. Okay, just let them be. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
They're on a red diet. Come on.
it's red meat diet. You know.
Red meat
Yeah,
only,
yeah,
pure iron. Hey, listen, iron deficient, not for long. So yeah,
They're on a high iron diet.
the assorted layer of the abyss kind of form as just like a catch-all for like, we need a demon layer. Put it in the fucking abyss.
Yeah. That last layer
jokes.
really sucks. You know what I mean?
Come again? Is there meant to be a pun there?
I was just thinking like there's a lot of vampires in that layer. So they'd probably suck your blood.
Nice. Yeah, true. No, you're not wrong, but like, whoa.
Probably need a couple more words to lay that joke out properly, but yeah.
Whoa. No, I was ready
You were
for
just
it.
like 5 minutes too late, I think.
Yeah, that's
That's
also
alright.
true. That's I've heard that one before.
But yes, the abyss, chaotic evil. A lot of the layers will shift and rearrange, but
Yep.
that's the chaotic evil plane of the abyss. We move on next to Carcerai, neutral evil leaning towards chaotic. Plane of imprisonment. This is actually the prison layer. This is pretty simple. It's just inescapable. Carcerai, the actual plane itself, is built of a bunch of layers that form like beads on a string coming down. I think I mentioned this briefly in the Baldur's Gate episode. It starts from a couple of ones up above. I haven't got the names written down. I apologize. But larger, with each of them being reachable, similar to like moons with gravity. You can kind of jump between them, given enough.
Oh, so it's like
force.
separate. So it's like mini planets make up this realm. that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it is a little bit confusing because as it gets towards the end, we slowly move along towards these smaller and smaller and smaller layers before eventually moving down into the final layer, which is Agathis, which is so far from others that it is almost impossible to find, let alone reach. It's covered in black ice and supports no life. If there are deeper layers, they are almost certainly impossible to find because they are buried somewhere in the ice of Carcerai or... it's real confusing again with these layers about whether you're jumping up between moons or whether you're going down through portals. It's a prison layer.
playing-
It's meant to be confusing.
Yeah. Am I playing like platform game Mario or like someone else? you know?
Platform game Mario, Super Mario Galaxy. Do not besmirch my games.
No, I was thinking Super Mario Bros. Actually,
What the fuck are you thinking about Super Mario Bros? for?
just
Super
like the
Mario
classic platform. Like you're on platform and then you jump up to the next platform.
That's true, but what I'm thinking of is the planets from Super Mario Galaxy.
Well, so it's Super Mario Bros. Versus Super Mario Galaxy. They're the two different options. Either it's a platform or a different planet.
You're going down
Ah.
planets. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah.
I
Various landscapes. Yeah.
is this so? This place is basically Australia when it got settled. It's the
Entirely correct. As similar to Australia, the only way off this plane is with a wish spell.
Yeah.
That's true. If Australia really existed, you know what I mean?
If Australia existed, we are what are they called? Crisis actors. We're fake.
Crisis
are.
act. Australia's in a constant crisis.
That's why we're made of a New Zealander, an Englishman, and someone who hasn't really claimed their nationality yet. Nonetheless, Carcerai, again, prison layer, only way off with a wish spell. Various landscapes hold various prisoners. It's miserable. Everyone who is here probably doesn't want to be here, and most of them are being held there by evil demon lords. Hell prison planet.
Is it when you say an evil prison, that can
Yes.
mean two things. You know what I mean?
Yes.
it can mean a prison for good people in the evil plane, right? And it's pretty bad. I mean, most prisons are bad, but or it could be a evil people keeping even worse people in there because they're like, these people suck.
Technically, it technically is both. It's more of just like a bottomless pit. You put it in there, it's not coming out.
So would like good aligned gods be like, I need a trap or something here? Would they go, here, could you please take this? You guys are prisoner. You guys like keep these guys.
Generally, no. They're more likely to use a couple of other planes. There's one we'll get to eventually called the Beastlands that has a layer almost, not specifically for, but like kind of for that purpose. Okay. Generally, they keep more bestial creatures there. I'm sure that would be a fucking killer plot line. The idea that maybe the gods banished one of their own who was disagreeing with them to the plane of Carcerai and now the party has to go free them. Again, this is DM bait.
This is true.
Are they guards?
No, it's just such an inescapable plane.
It's just
so fucking hard to get off this plane.
That really is Australia.
I mean, you don't need guards if it's just death. It gets slowly more uninhabitable. I mentioned the black ice at the very bottom layer. If I remember correctly, it's still just icy and shit as you go, even on the top layers, and it just gets worse as you go down.
I think from my knowledge of the Forgotten Realms versions, I'm pretty sure that was it. Like, Absolutely. It's frosty all the time.
All the time, shitty, terrible to get out of.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we move around once more to the plane of Hades. Straight neutral evil. Plain evil. Just vanilla evil.
Just rotten evil.
Hades
This is a plane of hopelessness and despair where all things wither and fade. It is otherwise called the Three Glooms or the Grey Wastes. The layers of Hades are the resting place for all souls unclaimed by either of the upper or the lower planes. Souls who remain here become larvae, worms with humanoid faces, who are used, I believe, as kind of a currency in the lower layers, are generally picked up by hags and are just traded around because they're kind of important spell components. In my head, it's kind of just like an easy way. Like, you need a human sacrifice. You're like, this is technically a human. It's just like a worm.
Yeah.
What are you shaking your head about, Matt? What doesn't make sense about the human face worm used as currency by witches?
It's not that it doesn't make sense. It's that I want the person who made this up on a watch list. You know what I
mean? Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ideas in some of these that it's just like, hey, you good?
Yeah,
Change your mind. All long-term DMs should be on some form of watch list.
I did send that meme to the chat the other day about DMs not wanting to give up their power. What is it? I like the idea of being a player, but I don't miss the weakness.
That's from Ahsoka. Yes.
I don't know what that is, so...
It was just a reel.
It was just a reel.
From a clip from Ahsoka, the TV show. It's a Star Wars TV show.
Scroll.
What do you think the chances are of me watching it then? Nonetheless, we move on. We're still on Hades.
We are still on Hades.
Interestingly, this place is often used as both the base of the World Tree, which has its roots buried here, as well as the base of Mount Olympus, kind of confusingly. I think it's something to do with, like, the stone pushes down, and if you were to, like, mine into the base layers... Again, a lot of the planes are connected in very confusing and weird ways, and that's just one of them.
I like to imagine it's simultaneously physical and psychological where it is, everything, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It'd be if the worlds are, if you imagine the world as one big, all the worlds as one big mountain, then the prime material would exist somewhere in the middle of the mountain. Hades from like Greek mythology is the underworld, right? Mm-hmm. So like that, it's under the mountain, and then you have Olympus on Elysium on the top, I guess, looking at the wheel. You know what I mean?
There are certainly versions of the planar system that complement that idea. I think the world tree would be very similar to that, kind of.
Yeah.
The one final thing I'll mention about Hades before moving on, the layer Niflheim here was once home to Lady Shar of Baldur's Gate fame. And also of general, D&D fame. But Baldur's Gate's where everyone's coming from these days,
Specifically.
Got to cater to the kids.
Hell yeah.
Niflheim or Niflhelm?
Niflheim. Moving around to neutral evil lawful. So evil neutral / lawful. It gets confusing when the word is at the start. This is just how they write it. Genna is this plane, which I mentioned before, which are the place where the orcs end up usually. Genna is a harsh volcanic plain, which the own power is... Oh my god. People who end up in Genna often end up very cutthroat. It is a harsh volcanic plain where power is the only law and suffering abounds. This is, hypothetically, if you were to draw sort of idealistic or you know, concepts from places, this would be where slavery's from.
Right.
I'm just being real. That's
fair.
Because it's neutral evil with a touch of lawful. So technically there's rules, but it's very evil.
It's like might is right.
Yes, 100%. The great slopes of Genna are hot and tiring. Travelers here often find themselves sweating along winding volcanic paths, far too thin to be safe, staring at cliff sides that descend into ash, dust, and smoke. The entire plain is... I don't know. Okay, it's kind of confusing. They say sometimes, like, the whole plane is a mountain, or the whole plane is tilted at 45 degrees, so it feels like a mountain. The whole thing is extremely hard to climb cliffside. It is a constant struggle. It is a constant test of strength. It is a constant, you know, a physical version of the morality of this particular plane.
One must imagine... they're happy.
One must imagine the Yugoloths happy.
Yeah.
Who are greedy and powerful demons, hell-bent on getting their own way and often are the exemplified examples? Mein Gott. The examples of just cutthroat, you know, make a bargain with them and they'll take you for all you're worth type demons. All good. Genna again.
Well, I know where I'm dropping.
So is that...
Yes.
Sorry if I misunderstood a thing. You said, so like in standard D&D earlier, often orcs end up here.
Give me 2 seconds. I definitely read that somewhere. Orcs. Give me 2 seconds.
Have a Google. I was saying we're dropping here because it said it was a tilted and the mountain's like a tower, so I was thinking these are tilted towers, like in Fortnite.
Is that a thing in Fortnite?
On Kraken.
It's hard.
Is that a thing in Fortnite?
It's hard to do any pop culture references when Jude only knows like a couple things, and he knows it really well. And then Guy has never seen a movie in his life. So you know, dear listener, I struggle here sometimes.
I've seen the 2 movies I need to have seen, which is Knives Out 1 and Knives Out 2.
Oh, yours?
Honestly, you didn't need to see the second one.
So many different directions there.
So. Shargath, Night Lord of the Orcs, lived underground on Kangath, which is the lowest layer of Genna, in a realm called the Night Below. This controlled the deepest caverns of Mungoth before moving to Nishrek, as described by the World Tree and World Axis cosmologies. So I think that the Orc Lord used to live here. So I'm probably just misremembering old lore, to be totally honest.
Fair.
It's one of those unfortunate things where I've done vague research over many, many years, and it kind of floats around in a soup, and I'm like, I'm confident enough to do an episode of one of these, and then I realize that all of it's from different versions. I'm reading like 6 different revisions of the same shit, and all the information crashes in my head. I'm like, oh dear, I've made a mistake.
It's probably not like, I mean, it's probably recent, you know? Like, you probably still get some mail to that address, and they go, and they're like, oh, it's his mail again, and they have to send it back. So I'm sure it's recent.
Okay, the 4 layers of Genna were infinite planes with gravity at 45 degrees to the ground, making travelers feel as if they were on the side of a mountain with no base and no peak.
Tilted towers.
The plane is at 45 degrees, according to the wiki.
That's a weird vibe, but I like it. You know what I mean? Just...
It's a constant... I think it's to exemplify the constant struggle of power, you know?
No.
Yeah, I think they just thought. Feel like
I think they just thought it would suck, so they did it that way.
That's also extremely true.
I think it's kind of funny. I think they actually wanted to rip off Fortnite.
Yeah, true. So true.
We move on from Might is Right Land to the straight lawful evil. Don't you fucking dare. Don't do a bit about it being straight. To the gay lawful evil realm of the 9 Hells, or Baator. This one is a strict hierarchy of devils and infernal contract where evil is bound by law and ambition.
Yeah, this is definitely the straight realm.
This is the straightest realm that exists. Contrary to popular belief, heaven is where
Evil
the gays
Lawful.
go. This one has layers that are important, but also long, so I'm going to speedrun them. But before that, this is also home to the devils, who are lawful evil, with this and the Abyss being the two main sides in the Blood Wars, which you'll often hear about referenced in various D&D sources, which is the fight between lawful and chaotic evil. So devils are lawful evil, demons are chaotic evil. I got confused about this for a long time, so I'm just putting this note here so that someone who didn't get it might get it. That's it.
Devils make contracts.
Yes.
Demons don't. That's how I remember it. Demons will invade, will eat. It's the kind of thing they come out of nowhere. Demons come out of nowhere. Devils will trick you into getting somewhere. That's why I think they're lawful. You know. In my brain. You know what I mean.
Demons are like chaotic little influences. Devils are like making agreements so you come fight in the Blood War with them.
Yeah.
The Blood War, I know it sucks and it's probably really bad, but the Blood War sounds like a sick name. It's so sick.
It is a completely sick name. You're quite right.
It should be a metal band named the Blood War.
No, 100% is.
I guarantee you the. Hold on. I'm doing this now. Blood War band. There's okay, so there's not one called The Blood War. There is definitely one called Blood War, one word. A metallic hardcore band that splits time between... Oh, okay. That sounded way cooler before I read the rest of that sentence. The metallic hardcore band that splits time between Pittsfield, Massachusetts and Troy, New York.
Oh, okay.
They're breaking down the laws of time between Pittsfield and Massachusetts.
Oh my god. We're going to go... If I were to go into full detail, the Nine Hells would be like a full episode on their own. There's a lot of history. There's actually a full couple campaigns that exists for these various layers. But yeah, for this, we're going to skate past. There might be a later episode. Who knows? We have many, many, many years to run this podcast for. Many centuries, perhaps, some may say.
Didn't a guy have a dream about getting lost down there for ages? You know what I mean?
You're quite right. Quite right. I think he was called...
I can't remember.
Dante?
Sorry?
Dante?
Dante, yeah.
Perhaps stuck in some sort of fire? Perhaps an inferno?
Perhaps.
I don't think that these are the same as Dante's Inferno's layers, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that they are.
I think these are inspired by Dante's level.
Oh, almost. I would almost certainly say they are inspired. I would guarantee they are inspired. I don't think that they are accurate to the layers as given by Dante.
From what I remember reading, because I've read about doing a Nine Hells. I've read about the Nine Hells a little bit. I do believe you might be getting into it, but a demon, someone lives on each layer. There's a devil or a demon lives on each layer, and they kind of represent each one of the seven sins, but there's 9 of them, so it doesn't kind of really work, but you can kind of put it together.
You're quite right, yes. I do mention in each of these the layers, which we're going to speed run. Get through them. Let's go. First, we have Avernus, which is very much the best known layer, as it's on the title of a campaign book, Descent to Avernus.
That's true.
A war-torn wasteland and the first line of battle in the Blood War. It is ruled by Zariel. It's a scorched wasteland littered with war machines and patrols of devils clashing against demons. It's a battleground. We then move to Dis, a massive sprawling iron city of smoke and fire ruled by Dispater.
New friend who Dis?
It's Dispater. Its streets form a searing maze, guarded fiercely to ensure no soul escapes its grasp. Below them, there is Minoris, a rotting swamp which everything sinks into. Mammon rules over its landscape, where treachery and greed dominate every corrupt deal. This is kind of Genna vibes, but also swampy rather than steep. Next, there is Phlegethos. I don't know how to pronounce these things. Give me a break.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry. I'm Delulu.
Phlegethos.
Did you just say Delulu?
I did just say Delulu. I have a girlfriend who says Delulu, and therefore my speech patterns are changed. I apologize in advance. Except I don't. Fuck you guys. I'll say what I want. Phlegethos is a fiery hellscape of molten lava and flame. Belial and Farina. I really should have done more research on how to pronounce these, because otherwise I'm going to stare at them and get annoyed at myself. Fiona.
Fiona!
Belial and Fiona rule this realm where devils revel in eternal fire and pain. This is the sadist layer. Below that, we
I
find
know where I'm going.
Stygia. Stygia is a frozen ocean of icebergs and glaciers ruled by Levistus, who is trapped in an icy tomb. I don't know how he's ruling it from that icy tomb, but that's what the wiki says.
He's a what is that called? Head of the country that's not really a head.
A
Puppet ruler?
Oh no, it's something
figurehead.
Figurehead, yeah, he's like a figurehead. It's like the king in England, you know. He doesn't really have that much power.
He doesn't have that much power. I dare you to pick a fight with the king.
1v1 me, King Andrew.
I reckon I could take Chuckles.
King Andrew?
Charles.
Oh.
It's Chuckles for now, man. He hasn't died yet. He's trying to.
Damn. Sorry, what?
If it became Andrew, he'd really be...
Sorry, yeah, he's
Something's
the other
gone seriously wrong if it's gotten to Andrew. Nonetheless, we move next to Malboge, a crumbling rocky wasteland ruled by Gouldby. Ooh. Gouldby Glacier. It's a shifting terrain which crushes its victims as the landscape moves around. There's Maladomini, which is a ruined realm of destroyed city ruled by Beelzebub. It's basically the realm of failed dreams. All the broken and lost shit is placed here.
Oh.
Below that, there is Cania. Cania? C-A-N-I-A. Make of that what you will. Which is a freezing, desolate landscape of ice ruled by Mistopheles. This land has treacherous magic and lots of cold shit. Again,
yeah,
a lot of these layers are just, it's evil as fuck, baby. We got evil shit down here. There's ice and fire and cold shit and rocks. This realm is unpleasant.
Did someone say it might even be a song of ice and fire?
Hello? Have I made a George R. R. Martin quote without realizing it?
Yeah, this realm is lawful unpleasant. That's what it is.
Lawful?
Yeah, George R. R. Martin.
Oh, apparently George is a very nice man, actually.
No, I said his realm, not him.
He's never going to come on our podcast again.
just-
You've doomed us, Jude. He's never going to come on this podcast ever.
He'll come on here.
I
He
think
sounds like
he would. I think he'd agree that his realm that he's made is quite deliberately unpleasant.
I think that he would come on here because he wants to argue. He feels like a type of guy who doesn't actively like arguing in public, but he feels like he's the kind of guy who'd take you aside to beef with you.
I definitely made enough mistakes in the Game of Thrones episodes.
He's coming for you.
He'd have stuff to beef with us.
All I know that in the town that he lives in, I think he funded it. There's like trains that have like dire wolves on them that like float around. And you can like drink tequila on them, I think.
Finally, we reach the deepest layer of hell, being Nessus, ruled by Asmodeus. It is a realm of chasms and rock, dark and deep, where the Lord of the Nine plots his evil plans over the realms and the multiverse. It's like deep evil. It's just literally a guy chilling in a chair. It's like, I'm going to take over the world.
Does Satan exist?
Huh?
Does Satan exist?
Not by name, but like there's devils. It's less that there is like a Satan and more that there's just like variety of devils.
It's like Asmodeus is a well-known greater demon of hell. Prince of hell.
Asmodeus is technically the Lord of the Nine Hells. He's equivalent to the devil, for all intents and purposes.
Pretty sure.
Are you Googling? What do we got? Is Asmodeus not it?
No, Asmodeus is definitely like a big thing in like the Bible stuff.
Oh, he's not Lord of the Nine. Oh, yeah, Overlord of all Nine Hells.
Yeah. I'm just looking. I'm looking in like original mythology stuff, like not in D&D. He's
his
king of
throne-
he's king of demons in some legends apparently. Like,
Interesting.
I think there are some legends that make him one of the fallen angels that followed Lucifer, like his right hand man, or some that make him he was in hell before Satan got there, and Satan kind of took charge, but he's still like really powerful there. But anyway,
Very true. Very true. I do also fucking love the wiki sometime. I just clicked into the wiki, to the page for Nessus, and there's a quote at the top that says, "Don't you know you're not allowed here?" says a Gilligan guard guarding the portal to Nessus. I don't want to go there, dog, okay? I'm
actually fine, thanks.
I'm actually good. I don't need to go here.
now that he said I'm not allowed, I kind of want to go. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
who's this fucking
Anyway.
guy? He's got to tell me.
That is the Nine Hells, the lawful evil plane. with that, we finish part 1 of this episode. We're making the episodes more concise, and this recording went for twice as long as we expected. Part 2 will be coming out later this week, unless you're an official lawkeeper, in which case you can find the next part on Patreon. Thank you for listening, and good night.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review, tell your friends, and if you're feeling extra generous, become an official lawkeeper by joining our Patreon today. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Living by the Law. All links are in the description, and thank you in advance. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.